Joe.
Hi there! We've been playing Hidden Leaders tonight. What did we think? Find out! So Hidden Leaders is a tug of war with 4 different factions vying for control. One of them, the Red Clan, wants to be above everybody else. One of them, the Green Clan, wants to be above everybody else. But then there's the Blue Clan, who want balance. And then there's the Black Clan that just want death across the land and get everything as big as it can, and it's just everything turns into fire and muck. Which faction's gonna win? There's only one way to find out, and that is through Hidden Leaders. In Hidden Leaders, you are given a leader card, and on that card are 2 of the factions. So you could back the blue faction, potentially, going for that balance, or you could also be given the green faction, for example. You want to try and get the green faction to win. So all the way through the game, you've got in the back of your mind that you've got 2 ways you can win. At the end of the game, depending on whatever the lie of the land is, whether it's like a flyaway kind of, I don't know, dominance for green, then you will find out, you'll flip your card, you'll reveal that you were green all along. But wait a second, Dave was green too. It all comes down to who's got the most green cards on their tableau at the same time. So it is a proper tug of war game, and I'm just going to put it out there. It's gorgeous.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know.
Unfortunately, Ange isn't in the review, but he was gutted because he couldn't really had issues with his IT.
But the
artwork, it was gorgeous. It was. Even I can say that, and I don't usually. It was stunning. Really, really liked all the art. Going on from what James said, it was that tug of war. So for most of the game, I thought I'd got no chance of winning. I thought I could see what was out on the board, and in essence, you've got those 4 factions, but the game is played between a green and a red counter. Basically, you're moving a green and red counter up and down a board by playing cards. It's as simple as that, and it's how they relate to each other decide which clan wins. And you impact the position of the green and red by playing cards from your hand. You play those into your tableau. Now, this is where they've obviously done some work on their design. It's not just any idiot doing this. They've clearly thought about it. And if I'm trying to win as green, which is what I had blue and green, so I wanted either equal or wanted green to be way out in front. So, but at the end of the game, I need to have a lot of green cards down in my tableau if I want to win as green. But a lot of the really good green cards harm the green clan on the board. So you've got a balance playing some other ones, and also that bit about not showing your hand too early, because if all I'm playing is green cards down onto my tableau, everybody will know I'm green, and they'll just keep pulling green back. So you've got to have that.
We knew you were blue, Pete.
They knew I was blue but actually I was working on a green victory, not a blue victory. I just had to keep green in close, so I kept keeping them close because I knew that I got 2 or 3 cards towards the end that I could play that would throw me green up front. So I had to get, and if I kept them close, I might have a blue victory. But I knew that I didn't have many blue cards in my tableau because I'd been hiding green cards away in my tableau whenever I got a chance. So you've got this you've got to go with one type of clan. You can play a bit of a split game, but if you split your game too much, you could potentially hand it to somebody else. So you've got to take a risk, but at the same time, it's balancing those out. And that internal kind of trying to work out what everybody else is doing, but work out what you're doing, and the flipping you do in your head on what is actually quite a nice little simple game. The level of strategy, though, does mean that you are doing a little bit of trying to work out which cards to play, which cards to keep. And you're picking cards from you can either pick a card blind or you can pick a card from a sort of market of 3 cards. Obviously, if you pick from there, people watch what you're picking. So there's a bit of bluff. There's all of those things going on in this game. Absolutely loved it. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, it is one of those. Get said a lot, easy to play, hard to master, but it is quite at its heart quite a straightforward game. You've got green. You've got red. The cards you play push green or red forward or back. But I'm going to say I was unlucky because my leader was green or red. So I didn't have that middle ground that I could fall into. Of if I can't win with green or red, I'll go with blue in the middle and just have balance to the force. And probably 2/3 of the way through the game, I realised that Andreas was way ahead of me on reds, and I wasn't going to win on red. I could tell that Pete was blue, but I ended up having to go, right, I'm going to suddenly switch from pushing red forward to absolutely caning red, pushing green way out in front, and hoping that Pete didn't have green. Spoiler, Pete had green.
And because Andreas, who was between us in order, had red, he didn't finish the game, because the game ends when a certain number of cards are face up in your tableau. Most of us had got 6 cards out. We needed 7 for the win, or for the end game, and it ends the minute that
was
7th
quite
card
funny
hits.
when everybody suddenly started panicking because they realised that they couldn't win.
And I was just sitting there thinking, I think I've got this. I think I've got this. I think I've got it. And then Dave...
There was a sudden scrabble to stop the game ending because they'd been quite comfortable pushing towards victory, and then everything changed. And all of a sudden they tried to extend the game long enough to claw it back, while Pete just sat there looking smug.
And it was a beautiful moment, because this so rarely happens. I usually am, have my ankles sharpened and my body sort of tapped into the ground like a tent peg by Dave. And for him to graciously hand me the victory was a beautiful moment, and one that will go down in my memory for a long time.
I do like that slight element of bluff with trying to protect from the others what strategy you're going for.
Yeah.
No, and again, you can actually make it obvious that you're going for one of the colours, but because you've got 2 different options, you can pretend to be going for one, let that cat out of the bag, because I think it was fairly obvious that Pete was blue. But then that lets you protect what you're actually going for as your main opportunity for winning. So yeah, very simple to learn. I think it took us sort of 1 round to go, oh yeah, I understand this. It's not hard to learn at all, but I think it's one of those, probably the more that you know the cards, the more opportunities there are for thoughtful play. So it probably scales quite nicely, actually, between nobody really knowing the cards, and the more you play and the more you understand the strategy. I think it'll scale quite nicely within the group as well, as you get more crafty and more thoughtful with it.
And I think one of the things I really like about it is every single game you play is going to be wildly different, because everyone's going to have different kind of colors that they're going for. So there's pretty much always going to be, unless you've got 2 players or 3 players, that's unlikely. If you're playing 4 and up, basically, somebody else is going to have the same color as you, definitely. Yeah. And so there is somebody who is kind of an ally. It's really interesting between hidden information and strategy, which is really nice, because I like a hidden information game. I mean, obviously I'm not very good at it, but the strategy side of it is actually, I'm not very good at the strategy side of it either. But it's a game that you can you can do the bluffing with, but you can also be really thoughtful about it, like Pete was. And yeah, it goes from 2 up till, was it 5 players?
6.
Up to
6 players. Oh my goodness, it's obscene.
That would be amazing. I can see it,
6 players would just be madness.
Oh, that end game when you're turning over, because one of the things I liked about the tableau that you build, obviously, whenever you play a card down, you play that face up. But along with the kind of plus and minus of the reds and the greens, there are also additional abilities that some of the cards have. So some cards scored quite low in terms of their impact on red or green, but then allowed you to do things like add a card to your hidden pile, or turn a card over. So like James was getting quite close to winning, or potentially pulling in the end game, or I say winning, closing the game off. So I had a card that allowed me to just turn one of his face-up cards face down, which immediately takes it out of his face-up count for the tableau. So it just prolongs the game a bit. There are cards that allow you to take cards from other people, take cards from the dead pile, take cards for, look at other people's hidden cards. So there's lots of opportunity with those additional abilities to get a sneaking, get a bit of a heads up about what other people's strategies might be, or to support your own hidden strategy. So it's not, that adds a layer. So this isn't, this. I think you could play it with relatively new gamers. I don't think it's that hard, but it has got some of those more, slightly more complex actions in that makes it at least, it was a challenge. It was easy, but in terms of understanding the game, but there was a strategy challenge for us as, seasoned gamers, which made it a hell of a lot of fun. But I think I could see myself taking this to a table with people who I play with sort of more casually, family and friends that we play with on a more casual basis. They'd get it and they would enjoy it. But I liked, there were elements that you kind of think, yeah, no, I get that's a little bit, lets you think a little bit more, gets the grey matter going a bit.
Yeah, you could play it with pretty much anybody, I think.
Yeah.
Easy enough, casual gaming. Thinky enough for the more hardened, cutthroat players amongst us.
And a game, a 4-player game took us on TTS probably Tabletopia about 40 minutes. I think that'd have been 25, half an hour if it hadn't been for issues with IT that we had a couple of times. So you're talking
general slowness of playing online as well. So
but probably 20 minutes, 30-minute a game, so you could play this over and over in an evening, dead easy.
I don't want to play it again.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a game I definitely want to get in my collection. It's a no-brainer when I see this on Kickstarter, and it's one I think that would sit well in a number of different types of gamers collections. So from this guy,
very easy just to
big thumbs up from
me. Shelf, get it played. Double thumbs up. Excellent. Get it bought.
Yeah, and shout out to what I can only assume is an upcoming artist. I was just looking him up, Satoshi Matsura from Japan. He's done some stuff on Instagram, but I think this is his first foray into board games. So watch the space for this guy as well, the artist.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Real quality.
No, I don't. Go!
Hi there.
That's not how it works, is that?
What? Hello.
Hello, Pete.
Hi, Dave.